What's up everyone, SuperaTom here, and today we have our top 10 most popular team for Keqing up to our current patch. I'll be going through all the team options for Keqing playstyle, including physical, pyro, and cryo. Now, before we move into the video, I would just want to let you know that once our channel hits 10,000 subs, I'll be giving a character giveaway. And so, Yae Miko is coming up, and if we get to 10,000 subs during her banner, one of you is going to be getting Yae Miko for free. And so if you'd like to have a chance to win Yae Miko, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on your bell notification. Enter my Discord server where the giveaway will be held. We don't have a lot of participants yet, so I am sure your chance of winning is pretty high. Link to the Discord server in the description below, and I will see you there. And with that, let us jump into the video. Before we look into some team options for Keqing, let's take note of some of the few things about her. Now, if you're new to Keqing and is looking to build her, I've got an in-depth and advanced guide on everything about Keqing, so check her build out if you haven't already. But in short, Keqing is an electro hyper carry that by having access to very low energy burst cost of only 40, she can easily spam her burst, therefore allowing her to be in both on-field DPS or in switch team if you want to. Her highest scaling attack is charge attack, so many of the time you will be focusing on that. However, there are certain cases where you will want to use her normal attack more, which we will go through from her team comp. Keqing on her own is already very reliable, as you've known she is very cute and hardworking, but if we're talking about her kit, then she can rely on herself just fine because of very decent attack scaling, low E skill cooldown, and low burst energy cost as well. Which is why you can find Keqing a bit run where she can solo, full star clear on higher cons and investment of course, but either way, if you give her a chance, Keqing can shine very bright. So those are some of the notes on Keqing. Now let's hop into her best team comp. For Electro Keqing, first we have Keqing, Benny, Sarah, and Kazuha. Now this team up to date is my best Keqing team. If you want to see really high numbers when running her, as well as very viable team when it comes to the abyss, not just for speedrun or showcase, then this is the team for you. We've got Benny for attack increase and healing, core of the most team as always. Kazuha is here for a bit of crowd control and providing what he does best, which is Anemo Swirl from the 4-piece Viridescent and elemental damage increase. And lastly, we have Sarah for electro resonance as well as further attack buffing for Keqing. Now I know on theory Benny and Sarah shouldn't be running together because of too much attack buff equals to diminishing return. However, even if that is the case, I've already tested and this team still is the team that gets my Keqing damage to the highest. So yeah, it will be a very interesting team for you to test out. Now to run this team well, you will need to keep in mind the rotation because we are running against Tam with Sarah, Benny, and Kazuha's buff on Keqing. The best rotation I have found is Keqing's E to Kazuha's EQ to Keqing's E recast, then Benny's EQ to Sarah's Q, and then Keqing's Q. Here's going to be a quick demonstration for you. After that, you just work on having everyone burst up again and repeat the rotation. During that time, remember to cast Sarah's E for attack bonus as well because Sarah only gives you 6 seconds of attack increase. Next team, we have Keqing, Benny, Raiden Shogun, and Zhongli. A bit of an expensive team. However, you should already be working on investing into getting Raiden and Zhongli because they are both really good character for any of your team. Now, this team works basically on all situations and will get you through the abyss really well. You've got Benny fulfilling his role as always, Zhongli's for shield, burst damage supports, as well as resistant shred. Raiden Shogun for electro resonance, energy recharge boost, and burst damage bonus, not just for Keqing but the whole team as well. So this team can feel a bit like a switch team at times because you most likely have your character burst up constantly because of Radiance and electro resonance. Even though Keqing and Zhongli's burst cost is low, so it doesn't help Raiden's burst bonus the best, but it still works really well because you'll be constantly switching to the two to spam their bursts inside of Benny's Q, and quickly switch to Raiden's burst during Benny's Q is still available. So for team rotation, it's going to be a bit simpler. You start with Zhongli's E to Benny's EQ, then Keqing's QE, then do some of Keqing's normal attack while she's being infused with Electro, and then after that go to Raiden Shogun for her EQ before Bennett's burst expires. Here's going to be the demonstration. Pretty simple rotation. The most important thing is you casting Keqing and Bao's burst during Bennett's E is active to take the most of the buff bonuses. You can spam Zhongli's burst whenever you like, as it's not the priority, and using his burst during Bennett's burst does cost you like 3 seconds, which is quite a lot. But again, this team is very flexible, which is why it feels like a switch team at times. Third, we have Keqing, Xingqiu, Beidou, and Junjin. Now this is a very interesting team. With the addition of Junjin, the team viability has been boosted significantly. So you have Xingqiu here for electro charge reaction and a bit of healing, Beidou for resonance, a bit of shielding and burst damage supports, and Junjin also has access to shield, but more so enhances Keqing's normal attack. Now here's why having Junjin here on the team is very valuable. When going with this, you'll be using Keqing's normal attack the majority of the time because Junjin's buff normal attack. But it is also good because from using normal attack, you'll be constantly activating Xingqiu and Beidou's burst, because how those two bursts work is that from using your normal attack. Therefore, this benefits everyone on the team. Also, even though Xingqiu is your only main source of healing, Beidou's burst will provide you a bit of shield, but both Beidou and Junjin's E has the countering E skill as well. So if you play this team well, you will almost never have to heal. So this is going to be an interesting team to go for, and if you want to take your gameplay skill to the next level, it's very fitting as well. Rotation wise, you don't have to pay too much attention to this. Just make sure that all three of Xingqiu, Beidou, and Junjin's bursts are constantly up to support Keqing. Therefore, higher energy recharge investment onto these characters are recommended. Plus, try to time Beidou's and Junjin's E perfectly so that you can sustain the team also. Fourth, we have Keqing, the Electro MC, Benny, and Sucrose, or if you have Venti, you can swap him in. This team is focused on for free-to-play player because we have all 4-star support characters and you can crowd control decently well with Sucrose. Better with Venti of course if you have him. So you have the MC Electro for resonance, plus provide your team a lot of energy recharge from her skill. She acts a bit like Beidou if you haven't got Beidou. Benny for attack buff and heal, and Sucrose have crowd control. EM provide a bit for Keqing, and Thrilling Tales access for more attack buff, which also works very well for Keqing. For this team, you do need to pay a bit of attention toward the rotation because we're working with Benny's burst and Sucrose Thrilling Tales buff. So the rotation goes Benny's EQ to MC's EQ to Sucrose EQ and Keqing's EQE. Meaning you will cast Keqing E once, go into her burst, then recast her E. Doing so allow her to get her elemental particles. Moving on to physical Keqing team, we have first Keqing, Kaya, Fischl, and Diona. Since we're running physical Keqing, we want to have superconduct being applied as much as possible. Luckily, Keqing herself is an electro character, which makes the job a lot easier. We have Kaya on the team, which is one of the best free-to-play options for you in terms of consistent cryo application. He is very good. Fischl here for consistent electro application from her Oz, as well as helping you to deal a lot of off-field damage. Diona for healing and cryo resonance, as well as shielding. Rotation wise, you just need to make sure that Kaya's burst is constantly on. Fischl's Oz is always on the field. You can do so by cycling Fischl's E skill and burst to reset her Oz, and then Diona activating her shield and healing constantly. Now while playing Keqing physical, just remember that whenever casting your E skill, you cast it once and go into your Keqing charge attack to activate her E without infusing Electro onto herself. Also spam her burst as well, because you get a 15% crit rate bonus after her burst, which really benefits her. As second physical team option, we have Keqing, Rosaria, Lisa, and Benny. Physical Keqing allows you to have access to very free-to-play friendly options. Rosaria in place of Kaya on the other team, though she does require to have her burst up for consistent cryo application, so do try to have her energy recharge on the higher side, but also Rosaria gives your team crit rate as well, which is amazing. Lisa is one of the few characters in the game that helps you with physical resistance shred, so on top of superconduct, you'll probably have up to 55% physical resistance decrease onto your enemies, and Benny as always healing and bonus attack support. So if you set up the rotation right for this team, it will help you deal more damage than the first option. Speaking of rotation, you will need to pay a bit to the rotation. First is Benny's EQ, to Rosaria's EQ, to Lisa's Q, then Keqing's Q to normal attack. Generally, you just need to make sure that all three of Benny, Rosaria, and Lisa's burst is always on all the time. Onto Pyro Keqing. We first have Keqing, Xiangling, Benny, and Zhongli. Keep in mind that in order to have Pyro Keqing possible, your bandit has to be at C6. So unless you really want to have a Pyro Keqing, I wouldn't recommend you turning your bandit into C6 please, because it does mess up some of your team comp. However, Pyro Keqing is very fun to play. And so we have Xiangling and Benny here for Pyro Resonance. Xiangling is a very good off-field damage support, and then there's Zhongli here for bonus resistance shred and shielding. Rotation is pretty simple. Your main aim is to always have Benny's burst up so Keqing can have Pyro infused. Remember to cast Xiangling's burst during Bandit's Q so that you can snapshot her burst. And also you should always spam Keqing's burst whenever possible for extra overload damage on this comp, as well as more crit rate bonus. And the second team option, we have Keqing, Benny, Kaya, and Xingqiu. This is an interesting team where you will have many reactions going on with Pyro Keqing. You can have access to both Vaporize and Melt reaction here, so it's pretty fun to play. Rotation wise, it's not very important, just need to make sure that Benny, Kaya, and Xingqiu's burst is always on, and then spamming Keqing's attack. And now we have some Cryo Keqing team. First we have Keqing, Shenhe, Chongyun, and Kokomi, or Kazuha if you're up for soloing bosses or you just don't need a lot of healing. Now with the introduction of Shenhe, Cryo Keqing is now even more accessible because she can deal a ton of damage from Shenhe's buff. Chongyun is the absolute core member for you to have a Cryo Keqing. For him, I suggest you to run a Sack Greatsword so that it helps reset his cooldown, helping you to have basically an 100% Cryo Keqing damage uptime if you work on your rotation well enough. Kokomi is here to heal and hydro application for freeze, as well as Reeling Tails for bonus damage. So Keqing Cryo best set would be running the Blizzard Strayer, as you'll be dealing very consistent damage to frozen enemies. Now Cryo Keqing team will require you to pay a lot of attention to the rotation, especially when you're having Shenhe at C0. So for the rotation, that will be Shenhe's EQ to Chongyun's QE to Kokomi's E, and then Keqing spamming normal attack. After you're done, just work on repeating the rotation. Here's going to be the demonstration. And then the other option, we also have Keqing, Chongyun, Shanhe, and Yunjin in place of Kokomi. Now, even though there's no healing for this team, Yunjin does help you with a bit of shield, and since she is a Geo character, you'll be getting a bit of crystallized shield to sustain your team as well. Now, why having Yunjin works really well here is because she buffed Keqing's normal attack, and Chongyun's E will increase your attack speed by 8%, helping you deal really good normal attack damage. The insaneness of this team gets to the next level if you have access to a C6 Yunjin, because that's where you get a 12% attack speed increase from her as well, resulting in a 20% attack speed increase. Not to mention, if you're somebody who can afford a C6 Shanhe, which I believe not a lot of us at this point, then of course you can technically spam Keqing's normal attack indefinitely, dealing an insane amount of cryo damage. So those are some of Keqing's top team options that I have found. I know that there are a lot more of team comp out there, so feel free to drop down in the comment section the team that you will be going with. If you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, then I have a whole playlist of team build for different characters to help you out. And don't forget guys, we'll be holding Yae Miko's character giveaway to one of you once the channel hits 10,000 subs, so if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to do so for a chance to win Yae Miko. With that, I wish you a super day and I will catch you on the next video.